Hear the music.
I'ma just island boy. I'ma just island boy. I'ma get key white boy. You gonna get that done. I'ma just island boy. I'ma just island boy. I'ma get key white boy. You gonna get that done. I'ma just island boy. I'ma just island boy. I'ma get key white boy. You gonna get that done. I'ma just island boy. I'ma just island boy. I'ma get key white boy. You gonna get that done. I'ma just island boy. I'ma just island boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and smash the like button, hit the share because it is time. Welcome back to another episode of the Mining Market Signal. I'm your host, Seth, and in this show, if you're not familiar with it, we talk about, of course, all things crypto, things like the $3 trillion market cap of cryptocurrency right now. What? Yeah. Smash the subscribe for that if you're lurking, right? You need to know that this stuff is happening now. You need to be able to aggregate the news and make sense of it from a bird's eye view. Sometimes that means that you got to focus on your job and just get some of these news sources in somewhere in the margins. And that's precisely what the show is here to do for you. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the current price of Bitcoin. These are some ranges that we've been tracking over months if you've been following the show. Let me go ahead and throw your chat up on screen. You guys, your chat is live. That's right. We don't ask you to pay to play in this show either, right? So not just going to only respect super chats. If you have a question, ask it. If you have an answer while you're viewing, if you think that you can contribute to the conversation, please do. That's part of what community really means, is us helping each other, right? People lifting people. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support in that way. Taking a look at the Bitcoin chart right now, though, that ascending triangle that we drew with our chopsticks, right? This is not, by the way, a technical analysis show, and I do not offer any kind of legal, financial, or business advice, but I do kind of just draw some lines on a chart because it's fun, interesting, and I like to at least pay attention to what the price is doing. Technical analysis, for those of us who are kind of in the mining space, we view it as kind of like a voodoo or like dark art, right? It's not something that we really understand at a fundamental level. Many of us, I certainly don't. There are those of you in the audience who do. However, on this show, we treat technical analysis as just another indicator, even understanding that there will be various influences that can affect a person's ability to draw on a chart. Some people are very, very good at that. Stepping back, zooming out, doing macro analyses of the entire market, and then translating that into a really good candlestick chart. And I'm not that guy, though. So on this show, we do talk a little bit about what's happening with price action, but that's not the primary consideration. We want to zoom out. We want to look at other things. We want to pay attention to fundamentals, especially. And if you have the interest and the inclination to do proof of work mining, we want to pay attention to projects early. And we want to try to mine them early while they're hustling, providing value, and we are securing their network. But, I basically just gave away the crux of the show, right? This is why we do what we do. Guys, we got chats coming in from Savage saying, wow, nice to see you stream at a time that someone from the EU can watch you live as well. Hey, appreciate that. I think Book says, great beard, like Duke Leto of Dune. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. It is kind of beard season. It's supposed to be no shave November or whatever. I don't know that I'm going to observe that per se. But if I show up in Miami looking, a little bit more stately, that's why. Yeah, for sure. Well, let's take a look at this chart again. Oh, Gordon Murray is in the chat saying, where's all my Flux parallel asset miners at? Right here. That is why, again, spoiler alert, if you just tuned in and you're wondering, okay, so what's the hidden gem that only miners know about? It's in our portfolio, and many of us have been mining it for years. Not just days or weeks or months in some cases, but years in many cases. So, yeah, it rhymes with flux. Let's jump into this chart again. Looks like Bitcoin right now, RSI is just flipping bullish after being bearish for a little while. Volume is positive, right? And our volume on the buy order side is higher, right, and growing. And we wicked all the way up to $66,000, which is great. it's really great to see. And we saw that price a little bit later in October. So is Bitcoin running up to a new all-time high? Are we going to see 70,000s soon? You know, I don't want to make any kind of a prediction there, but I do want to ask that question. And I'm going to pose that question to you. What do you think? Well, obviously, looking at our live view counter, clearly this is interesting to a lot of people, right? Knowing that we have a $3 trillion market cap and then it's primarily Bitcoin that's kind of leading the charge, right? This is one of those cases where I do believe that specifically Bitcoin price action is showing strong correlation with other assets in the market. So thank you and welcome anybody who's brand new. Please do hit that subscribe button. It's very much appreciated. It helps this channel perform that much better. And it lets YouTube know that this content is valuable to people in the crypto space. There aren't enough people, I think, talking about not just price action of the markets, but also mining and talking about them in a way that shows that they're not at odds, right? Crypto miners need the price action to be meaningful. Otherwise, we're mining for nothing, right? Like just for, for belief, right? It's like, what is it? A winner never quits and a quitter never wins. But if you never win and you never quit, something's really wrong with your head, right? Miners need to see their effort validated over time by seeing positive price action. And traders need to know that what they're doing in this space with this asset class is actually unique. And proof of work mining has provided that proof for over a decade in Bitcoin and going on, in the next little while, nearly a decade with Ethereum by the time it finishes with proof of work. Many other networks will continue with proof of work as well. So there's a syncope there, or there's at least a synchronicity there, right? Like where we might not always be on the exact same beat, but we do work together, right? There's definitely some really good synergy there. But yeah, that's the chart, guys. We are still in a bit of a bullish mode at this point. We are flipping bullish for sure. Gonna go ahead and adjust our chopsticks right now and extend them to show a bit of a channel. Top of our candles right there. And you know what? Maybe we need to show a range and we need to expand that out. But if I shoot through to show the bottom of the current candle, probably not the wisest thing because it's a little bit optimistic. But if we're just using our simple chopstick method, then we can go ahead and try to catch that chopstick somewhere. If this ascending triangle can continue somewhere close to the $70,000 range. So who knows? Maybe we do see that. Maybe it shoots up and goes a little more parabolic in the next day or two, and we don't have to take, all month to get there, right? This looks like something of a Thanksgiving miracle if it does follow this path right here. But we are hearing calls from people who believe that it's going to be, 70 to 75,000 before the end of the month. Others are saying things like, hey, we're going to see $89,000, $90,000 Bitcoin by the end of November. Maybe? Who am I to say no? Who am I to say no? I want to believe also. What do you think about that, guys? Tell me in the comments section right now. We're going to throw some of the chat on screen and I'll respond to some of that as we go as well. But what do you think about Bitcoin's price right now? What do you think is the maximum it can do in the next couple of weeks while we're running up towards Thanksgiving and the subsequent Black Friday? What do you think? Because I have my doubts. I have my doubts that Bitcoin is going to vastly outperform its all-time high before Black Friday. I think that most of retail, if I'm just like shooting straight here, we got Shinji in the chat. Tech Shinji just dropped in a $6.69 super chat saying, "Hi, I like your voice. Oh, and your content is good too. Heart, heart." Shinji, thank you, brother. So, guys, I'm looking at retail considering an entry into Bitcoin at some point before Black Friday. And just for me, there's something that just doesn't sit well. I'm imagining, and maybe it's because of my life situation where, I live in a family, right? I've got kids. I'm in a committed relationship. We're entering a season of gift giving. And so for me, I'm kind of holding on to the purse strings pretty tightly when it comes to any additional expenses. And I'm planning for Christmas purchases, right? At least here in the United States, Black Friday is this huge thing. And so is Cyber Monday in the following week. So immediately following Thanksgiving, I'm always expecting a bit of a heightened cash outlay, right? Sounds like way to make gift giving sound as unsexy as possible, right? But I'm expecting, to basically like hemorrhage money on gifts that I don't the way I don't normally the rest of the year, right? It's just a different thing. So, so yeah, I'm struggling to see Bitcoin printing its all-time high before sometime in December, maybe. Bernie is in the chat shilling some more dog coins. We're going to get to that, man. We might actually add some of those live today. We've got just enough time to do that in today's content lineup. Also, we got Yankee in the chat, brand new content creator, or longtime miner, newer content creator in the space. He's got a really fun new channel, so look for him in the chat there. And I mean, obviously, hit his channel up too. It's a lot of fun. It's a heck of a lot of fun. Out in the Carolinas. So if you haven't followed many content creators from that space, what are you waiting for? Jump in. So we got this as our chart. These are our chopsticks. Gonna go ahead and hit that save button right there. So this is now public over on TradingView. Is there any secret sauce here? Heck no. No, not at all. No possible way is this any kind of secret sauce. I really should give an equal shout out to all of our lovely content creators. Tech Shinji sent that super chat. He is also a relatively underappreciated tech channel, not just mining content creator, but sometime mining content creator, and absolutely love his work. And also just like the consummate AV pro. Some of the fit and finish, like the polish of his videos is like, it's not even fair, right? You know, like he should be running Church AV as a paid person somewhere in a southern megachurch because he's got those level of skills, right? Or he should be running a narrowcast facility, and he's slumming it here with us, guys. I love Shinji's content for that reason. But guys, let's take a look at not just our chart, but take a look at DeFi Llama. This is our total value locked on all chains. And as we talked about last episode, we kind of went into more depth. I'm not going to bore you to death here, but we know that DeFi as such, right? Hashtag DeFi in the way that we're now used to it. After DeFi Summer 1, right, we saw DeFi Summer 2.0. And before DeFi Summer 2.0 kicked off, right, sometime going into March, April, and then May and June, it basically, the industry went buck wild, and all of the other chains that could run smart contracts said, you know what, we remember what happened on Ethereum and Uniswap and decentralized exchanges and automated market makers, and it was great. People were making money. You remember some of those video titles from DeFi Summer 1, people saying everyone's getting ridiculously rich and DeFi and you're not? That was actually a trope. That was a thing. Multiple videos had that title, and multiple tweets went out that were just like, that went totally viral with that title. So, you know who remembers? Every other chain. That's why every other chain launched. And you see that list kind of grow as we got into DeFi Summer, the so-called DeFi Summer 2.0. And as a result, the total value locked across all chains, rather the dominance of Ethereum, dipped significantly. You can see that dip to an all-time low for Ethereum at 69%. 69.420%. But moving onward, we're still in relatively low Ethereum dominance territory now, and actually getting lower. We've gone from 67% all the way down to 66%. It's lost a full basis point of its dominance across all smart contract platforms. And guys, just gonna take another quick sidebar to thank you for being here live, hitting that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed, if you're just lurking right now, please do. Smash the bell icon as well and turn on notifications. It helps. But looking at that dominance though, guys, with DeFi dominance kind of falling in favor of all of the newer, higher throughput networks, and having Ethereum essentially fall out of favor for DeFi as such, it begs the question: what's next, both for DeFi and for Ethereum? Where do we all see Ethereum going? Oh my gosh, guys, I totally jammed an eyelash into my eyeball. So if it goes totally bloodshot before the end of the video, you know why. But yeah, Ethereum right now, it's still got one of the largest percent changes over the last 24 hours and the last 7 days. It is doing phenomenally well. Even though Solana is down over 24 hours, it's still got enough of a head start over the last 7 days that it's doing fine, right? So when you see headlines downplaying the impact and the influence of Solana, don't fall for it, right? It's like hot on the heels of Binance Smart Chain, and Binance Smart Chain went pretty much viral during the onset of DeFi Summer 2.0. So at this point, yeah, guys, if you're lurking, Tech Shinji's got some great advice there. If you're just lurking, go ahead and smash that like button. It does help the channel so much. But with Solana, guys, don't turn your back on it. The TVL is pretty darn good, and the market cap versus TVL ratio is higher than Ethereum. It's punching above its weight, is what I'm saying. So is Binance Smart Chain right now, but Binance Smart Chain I don't believe is in the same growth mode, right? It's not in the same growth attitude as Solana. Solana is really pushing for greater adoption in a lot more meaningful ways. Moving down the list, though, guys, we can also see that Phantom and Polygon are in growth mode. Phantom much more so, much more aggressively so, and same with Avalanche, right? I mentioned, and Josh, if you're watching again, I've got to tip my hat to you. I mentioned on the last live stream that an associate of mine, a friend of mine, mentioned he tried to put Avalanche on my radar, and just, that just, I didn't pay enough attention. I didn't. I slept on it. Avalanche basically popped off, and the multiples of returns that are available on Avalanche in terms of just pure price action and speculation were so much greater based on its sort of gem status. When everybody else was focused strictly on Solana and getting some good multiples, those who put a little bag into Avalanche got even higher returns in some of the same time frame. So I feel kind of bad about that. But if we move down the list, guys, be sure that you use this tool. Where can you find the link? In the description of this video. I always leave the links for you so you can do your due diligence when you've got a minute free to take a look at these websites and to take a look at these news sources. Especially this one, DeFi Llama, the TVL across all smart contract chains. I've made that a permanent fixture of the live stream show so that you always see where that link is when you tune in. I think it's that important. And we talked about introducing TVL as a vocabulary word, right? Or as an acronym that we as miners would start to learn about and talk about more frequently. And I've never felt more strongly about that, guys. It is an important thing for us to know. It's part of the fundamental analysis that we should be doing as miners to figure out, does this project really have legs? Am I really supporting something that has a future? Can I reasonably expect some kind of, some kind of return for what it is that I'm contributing to this network? So yeah, just to be aware, guys, you're going to see more of this in the future. Talk about the Fear and Greed Index. We're currently at a score of 75 in greed, but bordering on extreme greed. My prognosis, yeah, we're going to go into extreme greed really fast because of today's Bitcoin price. So if you check back in tonight after 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you're probably going to see a score of 76 plus, right? It could be as high as 80s, where the market becomes a lot more greedy because the market is filled with people who are copycats, right? We FOMO into stuff. We FOMO out of stuff. We buy the top. We sell the bottom. We make all these really, really silly mistakes out of emotion, right? Because that's how we buy. That's always how we've purchased things. We do not make rational decisions. People are not rational beings. Humans are not rational beings. So we have to pay attention, zoom out and pay attention to what is happening everywhere, right? If you don't like what the government is doing, pay attention to the other hand. You're really not going to like what it's doing there. All of that informs the news cycle that then creates feelings in us that we go act on. And then, we like a bunch of silly monkeys, we go buy stuff or we go sell stuff. So let's pay attention to what's happening in those markets and the anticipated increase in greed today after we see the price go up. What's contributing to that? Well, let's take a look. 3 reasons that Ethereum supply shock is closer than you think. Armon does a great little piece here over on u.today. But we're talking about how there may be supply shock in Ethereum very, very soon. What does that even mean, supply shock? One of those things that for us as miners, we don't really talk about that very much. I think maybe one notable exception would be Michael Carter from Bits Be Trippin', where he'll occasionally talk about tokenomics and occasionally use that term. But supply shock really, it means what it sounds like. There's going to be a shortage of supply very, very soon in Ethereum. It's anticipated maybe, but why? Like really, why is that going to be an issue? Well, there are a few reasons. First off, it has to do with the recent burn, EIP 1559. As miners, we're very familiar with this because everybody was telling us, you don't understand. Miners earn too much. Miners need to have their rewards reduced. And EIP 1559 is perfectly well thought out, and it's going to do that. And we were like, okay, we'll believe it when we see it. And it never happened. all that happened was the supply started to flip. It looked like it was going to flip negative. And we've shown it on ultrasound.money. We've shown that data source. I'm tired of looking at it because it just makes me mad. But we've shown how right now, post EIP 1559, rewards have not decreased. Supply has not decreased. But it's anticipated that maybe when the switch to proof of stake happens on Ethereum, it will start to go negative, right? So supply issuance will start to go negative. And that is one of those contributing factors to this supply shock, or the supposed and expected supply shock of Ethereum. So there's going to be that, right? There's over 800,000 Ether that have been burned so far. Obviously, you look at the rewards as well, based on, this is watchtheburn.com. You can pull up that data source, and I'll go ahead and throw that into the live chat just so that you're aware of how to get to that. You can click through very easily. So while that's loading up blocks on the mainnet, let's see. There we go. Yep. And okay, and I'm using Dark Reader as opposed to their native dark mode. But we can see, actually, this is quite a good tool. We might add this to our regular lineup. We can see the base fees. Man, this is really good, actually. We can see the amount burned. We can see the tips given to miners because that functionality was built into EIP 1559. And let's see what else. And yeah, we can see the number of transactions pushed through in a given block. So, I mean, it's impressive, right? There's definitely throughput on Ethereum. People who claim that the miners are mining empty blocks, or there's some kind of like crazy critical game theory that's off, like fundamentally off here in the Ethereum ecosystem. Man, I don't get where you're coming from. I really don't understand what that even means. Now, the burn rate here, what they're missing, unfortunately, is the total rewards. Because in some blocks, we know that the rewards have not stayed at their base 2 ETH, and the burn rate, when that's so vastly increased, that indicates that there's not just tips, but that there are other transaction fees that have grown the amount that's issued in that block as well. So I think that they're using a fixed, nope, there we go. So there we go. I was going to say for many of these blocks, I thought maybe they were using just a fixed variable, but they are getting real on-chain data. And this looks more realistic. You see the ratio flips every now and then for some of these blocks. Hey, and I hear a new sub just came in, and apparently my audio system is working quite well. I'll be troubleshooting Linux and try to avoid running back to Windows as long as I can. But I mean, I am seriously considering getting an Apple device, guys, an Apple Silicon device, and then just going through the full gamut of privacy hardening for that device. I don't know. Maybe. I'm just tired of having to do troubleshooting, guys. Too much IT work, systems admin work on my home network stuff. It's too much. I need some stuff that's more plug and play. But guys, that block is a little bit more indicative of what we've seen as miners. We've been the beneficiaries of this, right? Where the issuance, the rewards are higher than the proposed 2 Ether. And then the burn rate is far lower than what the Ethereum developers are saying it should be. So you can't just believe everything you read. Stuff like, resources like this that actually show on-chain data, they tell a more complete story of what's happening here. It is definitely, I think, the way to go. So we may be adding this, I think, to our lineup. I'm pretty happy with this source here. But issuance and tips, right? We can see that charted over time. We can see our fees charted over time. Very, very helpful tool. And you now have that in your toolbox as well. But jumping back into the main article here, right? The main event. Maybe it is going to go negative. Maybe there is going to be supply shock. Maybe there will be a problem. But I don't think it's primarily going to be from EIP 1559. No, not really. Here's what I think they're getting right. I think in the short term, what they're getting right is that there's been plenty of Ethereum moved off of exchange, right? So the exchange flow is negative. That means that people who know are taking their Ethereum off centralized exchanges. The order book Ethereum is just not there. If you want to try to throw fiat at Ethereum, you got to become friends with the miner. That's the bottom line there. Otherwise, you're going to have a really hard time finding Ether priced at what you think is reasonable. Or if you just want to buy it non-KYC, that's always been the way to go. There's really no other easy way to do that other than maybe Bitcoin ATMs that also service Ether. But even at that, the fees kind of don't make sense for a lot of people. Far easier to get some kind of a multi-sig wallet and place your flag or put down some stake in fiat for a mining operation that may be mining to a shared or a multi-sig wallet, it's still the easiest way to go, right? If you're somebody who just doesn't have any exposure to mining operations and maybe wants to, that's really your fastest way in without having to worry about like, okay, I'm jumping through the hoops here and I want to do a withdrawal from Coinbase over there. But now Coinbase is telling me that even though it's my money, they're going to make me wait 72 hours or a week. They're going to put a hold on my Ethereum transfer out of that custodial wallet. There's not a very good way to approach buying Ethereum right now. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse because most of that Ethereum in larger transactions, right? So entire wallets being swept. Most of that Ethereum is being pulled off of centralized exchanges because people get it. It's not smart to leave your Ether on exchange. It's just not a good long-term strategy at all. The Deadwood says ammo is also hard to find. Yep, guys, we are 2A lovers here on this channel. We definitely feel the pain there. If you aren't investing in brass and lead, then maybe you should be looking into precious metals too. But I digress. Let's talk about cryptocurrency news, guys. We got that new Watch the Burn tool that is available for our fine audience here. Make sure you bookmark that on ambcrypto.com. We've got some really fun sound bites from Jimmy Song, former Bitcoin Core developer. I don't know how much he contributes now. I don't know what recent pull requests bear his name, but he is a staunch Bitcoin advocate and noted maximalist who's very, very vocal. I love some of these sound bites. They're just fun, right? So he says, every other cryptocurrency was started by a CEO and a marketing team, and that's who you're hearing stuff from, and that's why stuff's out. I mean, you know what he's getting at, right? You know what he's actually trying to say. So put it into context. I'm not trying to make him sound like, he's out of context or like he's out of touch, per se. He says, what are you doing with the blockchain? You're buying it on some exchange because you think the number is going to go up. That's all there is to it. So don't tell me you're here for the technology. You're here because you're gambling on a puppy poo coin. Are you gambling on a puppy poo coin? You're in the right place. It's great to see, guys. So definitely when different groups and tribes feel threatened, they will start to behave with this kind of a threat response. And if you are purely into Bitcoin maximalism, and guys, this is said as a Bitcoin believer, somebody who holds Bitcoin, somebody who intends to continue to hold Bitcoin, not sell Bitcoin. But let's be real. There are differences between having a very, very strong belief in Bitcoin's mission and vision and then being an all-out maximalist who behaves with a threat response every time anything else comes along, and especially anytime anybody else is successful in launching something else or is successful by aping in and taking profits out of it, right? Like we've seen this in Shiba Inu. And I guess I still have to applaud. Like BitBoy did a phenomenal job on the Pompliano's podcast in defending his position where, on this stream, for example, we don't advocate that people ape into projects irresponsibly like Shiba Inu or like Saitama Inu. We'll put it into a portfolio and track its progress, but we'll never say people should go out and make these speculative plays or try to throw good money after bad. But that's the assertion from folks like this, is that anybody who isn't only talking about Bitcoin must be talking irresponsibly. And that's just not true. But there you go. It says it's gotten so far away from the fundamental value and the underlying productive capacity to a collective will to make something go up. And it happens because there are enough people that are willing to create their own reality. Well, I mean, yeah, but also, what did Bitcoin do back in like 2011-ish days, 2012 days, 2013-ish? You remember how like anybody who had Bitcoin back then was kind of living in their own reality as well. Sure, you could, they broke the seal. You could buy a pizza with Bitcoin back in the day, but it didn't show much utility yet. It showed a lot of promise. It wasn't, it was a speculative thing, and everybody was talking about it as though it was, tulip mania. And they weren't entirely wrong to issue that level of caution there. If you sold everything you had and went all in on Bitcoin, we know now that you would have done well. We didn't know that then. It was a risk then. And there were strong fundamentals. I get it. I'm not making an apples to apples comparison. I am saying that the mindset from the outside, from people who didn't really capture the same vision, you couldn't create a reality for them. You could only create a reality for the in-group. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, right? This is tribalism 101. So He says that ultimately ends up with capital going towards stuff that's completely useless. Well, sure, there's plenty of stuff that where capital goes that's completely useless. People water lawns, for crying out loud. Do you know how much water goes to waste just keeping a lawn green? Good grief. If we're only decrying waste, like go get your Sigma 6 certification, right? Or your Six Sigma certification, and go knock on every single door in corporate America and every single door in in residential and suburban America, and tell everybody to stop watering lawns. Do you realize how many millions or billions of dollars you would save? We can't always make that the only argument is that there's some waste or that certain things are completely useless, right? Like it drives some very interesting thinking that can create further problems, right? It's kind of the example of virtue being pushed to the point that it flips into vice. And we don't really believe in that on this channel. We don't believe in that in this house. So something like Dogecoin or Shiba Inu absolutely does nothing for civilization. And if capital sinks into those things, you have civilization decline. And that's what's really going on here. That's what really gets me. I mean, sure, civilization decline, but I've seen some articles written by Bitcoin maximalists that talk about bringing back the Aristotelian standard for appreciating artwork or the written word and the stage plays, and who talk about going back to Greek and Roman standards of beauty and only having the Greek ideal body. I mean, first off, half these jokers don't even work out, but then they talk about like artistic standards and beauty standards that come back from this classical era. I mean, that really strong invocation of the ancient Roman standard. What recent, in the last, say, 100 years or so, what recent civilization does that remind you of? Being hyper-focused on those standards. I'm not going to say it out loud, because I know you're intelligent enough to figure it out. But I just think it's a mistake to say, like, well, there's only one standard. Oh, we got to go back to this one standard. And then everything else is just not worthy. We need to root out all of the unworthy. It gets bad fast, right? So, yeah. Be careful. Be careful. I don't know that we necessarily see civilization fully declining because of some of these coins, right? We had Namecoin back in the day. We had Litecoin back in the day. It's performed well. And then, we had Doge not long after that. It's a little bit of an issue. Let's talk about the Forbes article, though. Robert Hart did a phenomenal job of this. He's a staff writer. Don't know if he's dedicated strictly to crypto news or to the Bitcoin market cap or anything like that. But he does highlight that the crypto market cap has surpassed $3 trillion. And I just needed to get a hold of this photo, guys, because I needed you to be thinking about this all day. Got it locked into your retinas yet? Let's burn that in a little longer. Let's get some image burn in on your displays. Okay. That's a dope chain. I'm just saying, if my grandma wore chains like that, she would have lived an extra like 15,000 years, because she would have been like, immutable blockchain on my, I'm wearing it on my bling. So that's just a great picture. But he goes on to say that Ether has hit 4% or has hit its all-time high today. It finally reached a new record, printed a new all-time high. Yankee is in the chat appreciating beauty for what it is. Thank you, Yankee. I'm pretty sure that I know your type, and that's why I queued this one up. But Ethereum, all-time high, 4782. That's awesome, right? And then Bitcoin hitting a market cap, or Ether hitting a market cap of 560 billion. That all-time high, looking really, really good. It's going to be trading a little bit lower when we finally check in with our charts there, check in with our portfolios. But then Bitcoin has gone to $66,000. It's important to note, we looked at our chart, and that's not really the local top, right? The all-time high in the last month is actually a little bit higher. It wicked up to above $66,000. So we haven't technically printed an all-time high in Bitcoin yet, but we have in Ether. And the overall market cap is what's benefiting from those all-time highs and those recent records. So definitely cool. Bitcoin, of course, having a market cap of over $1 trillion or $1.2 trillion is amazing. Definitely an amazing thing. I love seeing the Bitcoin market cap at over $1 trillion. I've been saying for years that my whole point and purpose in doing this channel is to see the entire crypto market cap get back to $1 trillion and then smash through it and go way beyond, to the moon, to Mars, and exploring new galaxies, right? Like that's what we want to see here. But a lot of the major tokens, XRP, ADA, Dogecoin, they're all up. And it's, for those of us who have not been super strong Cardano believers like yours truly or XRP hodlers, I'm not part of the XRP army, it's a little bit of a surprise for us, right? We weren't expecting to see things go quite this well, but it is good to see the overall market cap show signs of health, right? Not show signs of of poor health, right? And dying off. Moving on with that news cycle, guys, Crypto.com has launched the Cronos mainnet beta. Now, what does that even mean? I don't know that I fully understand that, right? Where it's like, wait, is it a testnet or is it a mainnet? It's a mainnet beta. It's testnet 1.5. I mean, I don't know fully what that means. Well, I do. We all know what that means. Being a mainnet means that the main tokens, the regular tokens, whether it's governance or it's utility tokens or whatever else, will be circulated on this new mainnet. But there could be problems. That's what they're trying to say. It's a little CYA that they're doing right there. Like, expect that there could be some difficulty with this new beta mainnet. And that's okay, right? That just is what it is. But here's why I wanted to bring it up. Cronos mainnet is going to be a pretty big deal. Compatible with EVM systems, so you're going to be able to add Cronos to MetaMask. That's right. If you're not familiar with how to use tools like MetaMask or WallF, an open source Android wallet, well, you're going to be able to add the RPC, a custom RPC network to these wallets, and you'll be able to see transactions on this new Cronos mainnet. So they're really kind of aiming their sights at Phantom and Avalanche, and of course Ethereum, but then Matic, right? Polygon, which is currently the king of transactions on EVM-based chains today, right? Today. Certainly it's surpassed Ethereum, specifically in terms of scaling. But with Cronos, they're very interested in having it be something that people are already familiar with and using the open standards of Ethereum, right? So their token standard is the CRC20, if we weren't already confused enough by BEP20s and upcoming PRC20s and TRX20s or TRC20s, and of course, the original ERC20. Nope, we got to go with CRC20 so we remember it is Cronos. But apparently there will be a bridge for select tokens in the Crypto.com app and the exchange by selecting Cronos Network when depositing and withdrawing. And then from crypto.org chain to Cronos via the IBC channel. Guys, what is IBC? We need to do a deep dive on that on another video, but IBC is related to the Cosmos network and the Cosmos family of chains. It's the interblockchain connection protocol. That IBC is very powerful. We have not been featuring it as much on this channel, and we should soon. So if you want to see that, smash that like, obviously hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you know when we make some of that content too. We aim not only to entertain, but to educate as well. So Cronos Bridge, they say it's fully decentralized, utilizing IBC and Gravity modules within the Cosmos SDK, supports transfers between the crypto.org chain and the Cronos chain. I'm happy to see that. The biggest concern when looking at relatively centralized platforms like Crypto.com is the giant question mark. Can you build anything decentralized? Can you build a business around it so it's sustainable? Those are two questions, right? I know, but most of the time when we see a commercial interest, a large company like this, we see them talking about doing something open source. It's kind of a head scratcher, right? Like, what's really in it for you guys if you're building open source? But you've heard me say on the channel and in various project interviews over the years that we see within Linux, there's a phenomenal history, right? A very rich history with Red Hat and with other institutions, SUSE and others. And then Canonical, obviously, a big one. That there's a rich history of companies that have been able to create a profit margin and create a business model on top of open source without having it be anything that's too onerous for their buyers, for their customers. Have it be something that people actually care to spend money on, is what I'm saying. And so I don't think it's impossible. With Crypto.com, for them to have a decentralized protocol or even a relatively decentralized protocol is a very bullish thing. I was kind of on the fence. I'm not a big fan of KYCing everywhere, right? Adding my personal information to every single new platform that comes along. But if there is a decentralized exchange option that makes it more useful, well, I mean, I'm not too proud to admit I've used Binance Smart Chain before, even though Binance itself, right? Binance.org and Binance.us are not services that I use anymore. But I have used Binance Smart Chain because of its relative decentralization and relatively permissionless nature. If I stay anonymous on those networks, my transactions do too. So I'm looking forward to this. But yeah, the Kronos mainnet apparently is launching. But they're saying that they want to be part of the Cosmos community. I totally support that. It's interesting that they're part of the Cosmos community, but are really focused on having that EVM compatibility too. I think that's extremely smart. We've got Polkadot-based ecosystems or Polkadot-based projects that are trying to be part of a broader interchain ecosystem and really trying to be at the forefront of interchain compatibility. It's a very big deal, right? So Polkadot is doing this with parachain auctions and then being able to create bridges. And then we've got Solana that's got their wormhole bridge, as long as several others, right? So we've got so many that are focused on this interchain vision, right, of blockchain in the future, right, where we think of blockchain and we think of cryptocurrencies, but our day-to-day practice allows us access to almost all of them permissionlessly and in a decentralized fashion. So I think that's smart. And with Kronos in particular, focusing on the EVM standards of CRC20 and maybe an NFT standard if they do support it in the future, I mean, I think that's smart too. Solidity is not a perfect programming language, but we now have Solidity specialists who are perfectly good enough, right, to get the job done and add value to those networks. Guys, we got Pocket Change, or Wife of a Miner, in the chat as well. Speaking of our local celebrities within the GPU mining space, thanks for being here. Thank you for the support. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this, guys. I'm going to have this on my radar. Were you paying attention to this? That's what I need to know. Let me know that in the comments section. Is this something you were already watching? Or are you already a Crypto.com card holder? Is that something that already matters to you? And so were you looking at what they were doing in the decentralized space? Or are you just trying to get some yield on a centralized service, right? On a centralized, basically, savings account with Crypto.com? A lot of people are happy to surrender their Bitcoin or their other cryptocurrencies, not hold the keys to all of their coins, and then experience some yield and growth. I get it. A lot of us have bank accounts, and we're not going to give them up, right? A lot of us have fiat accounting and finance, and we're probably not going to change, even though we're also crypto and Bitcoin believers. We may not be 100% all in on only crypto. It's a very difficult lifestyle. So I'm trying not to judge anybody who's okay with centralized services. I'm not, right? The line for me is way far back here, where it's like, look, I already give my fiat financial services what I feel is too much control over my life. I'm not going to do it with my crypto. But the line may be in a different place for you. Tell me in the comments. Are you excited about this? Do you want more decentralized options? What does that need to look like for you to be comfortable using a chain like this? Does it need to have a different sponsor? Can it come from a centralized company or service like Crypto.com? Does that make you inherently mistrusting of the source? I'd love to hear your comments, guys. Like, we're smarter together, so I need to know what you think about this too. But that's on the Crypto.com news front. For me, I think it's bullish. I really do. But I need to know your thoughts too, guys. Block One. Oh, yeah, y'all didn't know we had jokes. Block One is back on the scene, trying to breathe new life into the EOS project. Now, if you remember, back in the day, I did an interview with a former, actually, coworker from my internship over a decade ago at DreamWorks Animation. Cool dude who was part of a. I actually accidentally said fart, but it was probably a Freudian slip. Guys, do your internet thing. Somebody make like a musical remix of that. But it was an incredibly good interview with an old friend who spends a lot of time in India, who was gearing up to become a block producer candidate for EOS when they were approaching their mainnet launch. This is like an ancient interview at this point, but had a lot of fun talking to him about that. If you remember EOS or Block One, when they launched EOS, they raised $4 billion in the ICO, right? In the pre-sale. EOS is pretty much, it's a meme, right? It's ancient history in terms of our collective memory of what Bitcoin is, or what the cryptocurrency and larger blockchain scene is supposed to be. Most people are not looking at EOS and thinking like, you know what, that makes sense. I'm going to build on EOS today. Most developers that I hear from or that I see talking in the space, they're not super bullish on building on EOS. However, Block One raised $4 billion and they kept it in a treasury. In fact, they kind of burned a lot of the ICO, like people who were raising money in the early fundraise in the ICO, by dumping some of their own treasury and putting it into Bitcoin as part of the treasury. What does that communicate to your community when you tell them, like, you know what, what you gave us is okay, but really Bitcoin's better. So we're gonna, like, as far as putting your money where your mouth is, what they were literally saying is Bitcoin's better than anything else we could put our money into right now from this early fundraise. So yikes, right? Yikes. Guys, speaking of our resident celebrity, we got Son of a Tech in the chat. Son of a Tech, good to see you in the chat. Thank you for showing up for support. Guys, be sure that you are also supporting our creators like Son of a Tech. Makes great content and is, as I understand it, he's at a mobile studio right now. So we got to support some of that content coming out of Son of a Tech's channel over the next, I think, especially 72 hours week. Guys, I think he's jumping through the ring of fire. So go check out some of his content. Make sure that you thumbs up and that you share it everywhere you can. Got to support each other, guys. Got to make hay while the sun shines too, right? Like, this bull market will not last forever. So creators have got to support creators. We're here for you, Son of a Tech, as a community. I'm sure I speak for a lot of people when I say that. But with Block One, their recent efforts to try to keep EOS relevant and working, they're putting $210 million into Helios, right? So, and Helios is, as I understand it, it is part of their consensus model, right? So, man, I wish them the best of luck. I don't like seeing any kind of blockchains struggle, and but it's happening, right? We're starting to see signs of poor health within some of these projects. It's just going to happen more increasingly over time. We're going to see several projects that we thought really had the power to go the distance start to trip and stumble right towards the finishing line of this bull market. But we're on the other side, we're going to see projects that we didn't know had serious upside left in them and serious headroom to grow, go parabolic. On that note, let's hit our GPU charts and see what I'm talking about, guys. This is part of the clickbait for today's Secret Sauce. We're going to take a look at our GPU mining profitability, and instead of going straight to our overall the overview tab right here on GPUs, we're going to do as we have historically done and just go ahead and put some numbers in straight ahead. Let's take a composite of our AMD top of the line 6800 XT. Now I realize it's not the top of the line for AMD, but it's what's available here with stock numbers. So just understand your mileage may vary. We're also going to go to the bottom of the line with what's listed here, not the 5500, but this 5600 XT. And we're going to take a composite score of that based on its Ethereum numbers. You'll notice that several other GPU mining algorithms are not available here. Kryptonite R is not as popular, but CN Fast as well, and Ion. But several other algorithms are just not represented here. RandomX, and then with Raptorium, with its algorithm, are also not represented here. Now that I'm thinking about it, shout out to Raptorium. There is a GPU mining software available for it. You've probably heard it on other channels. I'm just going to hint at that. It's kind of sad that we don't see it here because it would show us probably some pretty amazing profits that we could print on our GPUs. I've got a volume filter of 5 Bitcoin for daily trading volume, and that shows us Ethereum and Firo at the top of the stack. Ravencoin is not too far behind, but between those two GPUs, we got $8.11. It's not that bad. Alexander Brody's in the chat saying, hey, this is where all the cool kids are. Heck yeah, man. Son of a Tech dropping truth bomb says, hey, 6800 XT and 6900 XT get the same hash anyway. You may as well just leave it exactly the same. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. As always, dropping some truth bombs there, helping out the audience from every possible angle. So yeah, guys, the breakdown here also is that between this, what am I talking about? I did a full composite from top to bottom instead of doing top and top of each one of those. But we are going to get a little bit more hash rate, of course, out of this 6800 XT. You notice right there, its ETH hash numbers are indicative of that, 64. And then the remainder will come from that 5600 XT, bringing it up to 104. So only about 40 mega hashes per second, right? So we've got about a 60-40 split roughly between these two cards. And in terms of the daily output and profit, that ratio will hold, right? So about 60% of what we see here is going to that top of the line, latest gen AMD card. But it looks pretty good, guys. Leaderboard doesn't include any projects we haven't seen before, but that's because we've got that volume filter. Let's pop that down just a little bit, see what that drags in, right? We've got now only one Bitcoin daily volume filter, and that doesn't expose much other than equilibria. Trading is finally starting to calm down on equilibria. This for me is a bit of validation of what I've been saying for a while. I don't mean to pick winners and losers, but I have been doubtful that equilibria really has that staying power, right? That ability to go the distance. And so I haven't made any secret of it, right? Straight up. It's just the trading volume is going down, and I imagine there's going to be some sell-offs. If I were in the position of somebody who saw the early equilibria profits and turned a lot of rigs over to it, I would right now, if I wasn't already before, I would right now be thinking, how badly do I really need this bag? Is it possible that something else will outperform it? Would it be better for me to go to exchange and place this into a coin that either I want to support long-term, hold long-term, or will just give me better profits, right? Based on what I did day over day mining it, can I flip it into another bag and do better? I would be thinking that dispassionately about this project right now, mainly because I don't really have any ties to it. I don't have any allegiance to the Equilibria project. I don't mean to down talk it either, but I don't have a strong personal belief in its mission or vision because I'm not that closely aligned with it. Do you know better, guys? What do you know about the Equilibria project that I don't? I'm looking at it and thinking, okay, maybe time to bail out. Maybe you know something I don't, though. So I'm just saying, guys, it wouldn't be the first time that I've just said, like, hey, tell me what I'm missing. And you guys totally brought something really important to my attention and helped me change my way of thinking. And I'm happy for it, guys. I'm here for it. I happen to be the guy on camera today for this live stream, but let's be real. We've got a live chat full of people who are extremely intelligent and have offer brilliant counterpoints. So I'm happy to take anybody's counterpoint and take it seriously. So, guys, taking a look at the rest of our lineup here, we got Radeon 7, top of the line for our Vega architecture cards with HBM2 memory. It's an extremely high performance piece for AMD or Team Red. So Yankee says, high intelligence, that's a stretch. Did I get the voice right? Is that pretty good? That's actually not even Yankee's real voice. That's Yankee's big voice when he's hamming it up. But I love you, Yankee. I miss your face, man. But Radeon 7 brings us a daily return on Ethereum at 14-cent power of over $7 per day. It's pretty impressive. Ergo is a distant second. And you guys know I'm not a big fan of nice hash. Centralized services like it if you're going to use it. If you're going to show your support for some kind of a hash rate rental service, I much more strongly believe in something that's a bit more personal like miningrogrentals.com. I think it's a preferred platform for a lot of more serious GPU miners. And you can list any number of, small scale, mid scale, large scale farms over there. So much bigger fan of that. And I think you're going to get very similar returns based on the rental of your rigs over there. So I don't like talking about nice hash too much. Flux is on the list. What? It was not, I don't think it was even shown as an option for Radeon 7 before, but Flux is kind of our darling for the day. We saw it go parabolic over the last 48 hours, and you love to see it. Flux is a phenomenal project with great fundamentals. When Crypto McKellen and I were offering some banter in the live stream chat for the last episode, he said, Flux to $1. And I was like, bruh, it's got actually way more mileage in it than $1. I would not be shocked to see Flux print an all-time high this bull run of $5 plus. It could, and then he said to $10. He 10x'd his expectations. I don't want to get greedy with seeing projects like that, but we'll take a look at our portfolio to see what its recent run-up looks like and what its future support could look like, because we're testing resistance at this point with Flux, but it's there. It's on the chart now for this card. And guys, we need to think about these projects in this way. We actually do. We can talk about like, oh, cool, the vision is really good, the mission is really good, but we have to pay attention to what the market is doing too. Is it buying? Is it selling? Does it actually care about the projects we care about? And when will it care about them? But that's our Radeon 7, guys. Looking at our Radeon 50 or our Vega 56 rather, another really high performance HBM part from Team Red, and still have that one Bitcoin filter going. We've got Ravencoin still on the leaderboard with very, very high daily trading volume. It is a very healthy project. That's important to note. Ravencoin, you guys have heard me say things that could be interpreted as disparaging about Ravencoin. I'm not here to pick winners and losers there. I'm just happy that a lot of us mined Ravencoin when it was not at its current price. But I am struggling to find meaningful partnerships that are happening in the real world with developers who are saying like, yep, Ravencoin makes sense to me, as opposed to starting from the other side and saying, well, I've got a lot of Ravencoin or I've got a lot of GPUs. And so maybe I can find something that works with Ravencoin, right? Kind of more of a solution shopping for a problem than the other way around. That said, great piece of code, great community, really great founding story, and really great grassroots support from day one. So yeah, I can't speak too poorly of it. But Firo, on the flip side, I can't speak highly enough of it. It's got this unique privacy protocol that everyone seems to keep sleeping on. It's in the number 2 spot for leaderboard there. Ergo also available, but at nearly half the profit of Ethereum. Flux also on that leaderboard for our HBM2 cards, right? So cool to see all of those showing up. Let's go to our bottom of the line. We're going to quickly do just one sampling of a Polaris Edition card. We'll go just with the 8 gig model. We're not even going to bother with anything else. Go ahead and hit calculate, see what 14-cent power gets you on an ancient card like the Polaris, right? The RX 580. And at an RX 580, 8 gig, you're getting more profit on Ethereum with that ancient card than you're getting on any of the alternatives like Ergo with a Vega 56. This is unbelievable profit, guys. To see over $2 per day on cards that old and that air quotes inefficient is basically unreal. And you've heard me talk about like being very careful with your purchases, looking at not just the last generation, but maybe even the generation before, so that your cost to acquire is very, very low and your hash per dollar per watt is a ratio you're respecting. Guys, this is an ancient formula. It was around since before I was involved in any kind of mining or cryptocurrency or blockchain. If you want to just search bitcointalk.org for that phrase or for that ratio, hash per dollar per watt, this is something that was talked about clear back when Bitcoin was mineable on GPUs. It's not a new idea. It's not a new term, but it's extremely important for us to understand. So yeah, looking at previous gen hardware sometimes yields a better result than getting top of the line, air quotes, highest efficiency hardware. It can. Plenty of people in the chat who have got plenty of people in the chat, and thanks for the emoji there, Justin. Appreciate that. You got a little chuckle there. Plenty of people in the chat, plenty of people in the community who started with ancient cards like this and kept them running, and then as crypto went back into profit, have returned multiples upon multiples upon multiples of their initial investment. Not just waiting to break even, but having broken even years ago and then just printing more free crypto. So there's huge power in knowing which generation of equipment yields the best result. And a simple equation will tell you that. Hash per dollar per watt. But going from our Polaris Edition card to something a little bit older, an older HBM card, the Fury, the R9 Fury. Let's check to see if ancient cards like that are still in the money. I promise you they are. But the question is, where and how? It's Flux. What? Flux at $2 a day on the R9 Fury. Good Lord. I almost had a heart attack just now. $2 per day on an R9 Fury? Are you kidding me? $2, and that's on bad power. That's on 14-cent power. Like I make these conditions like 7-day averages and, and the worst possible condition for power, based on averages for most markets. Like if you're in the most the most fascist state and the most fascist city of the most fascist state of the United States, and they're trying to like make you pay your fair share for power usage or whatever, you can probably still go across the tracks and find a facility and that's getting a commercial rate of 14-cent power. Like you can make that work is what I'm saying. That's why I started to use that as a standard, is that even in the worst conditions, you can get that. But $2 per day on a card that most gamers won't even touch. Wow. Ravencoin, also printing over $1 of profits on that same card. Zano at 88 cents. Guys, what did they put in the water over there in the R9 Fury camp? It's kicking butt. It's printing profit on almost anything it touches. Almost anything it can mine is in the money right now. This is unbelievable. But to see Flux in particular on an ancient ass card like this, this thing is, you can't even find it on eBay. You can't this is a collector's item. The R9 Fury is not even something that is traded anymore or bought and sold. So this is unreal. Anonymous Miner is communicating some pain in the chat. 22 cents per kilowatt hour in their market. I feel for you. It's bad news in some places. 22 up to 25 cents in some areas. Wow. And they've got solar. They're contributing back to the grid and doing 22 cents per kilowatt hour. Oof. That's rough. I feel for you there, man. I'm sorry. But let's strike that, guys. Oh, about to give myself an aneurysm. Jeez. But with our AMD cards, let's also take a look at the R9 380. Still available here. And again, an ancient card that nobody even buys or sells. The gamers won't touch. And it's in the gosh darn money. It's almost at $1. Almost at $1 on Flux. What in the world? Guys, part of that is due to the parabolic run-up. We're seeing this as a function of the most recent price. And so you may not have seen this coming unless you were already mining on these cards. So just to be aware, your mileage may vary and none of this is advice. Just showing that profits are extremely good right now. It is still always going to default to showing us the 24-hour range here. It sorts and then gives us, it sorts by this criteria here. But over the last 7 days, that smashes everything, blows everything else out of the water. So that's just amazing. Guys, over on Team Green, let's get an overall summary of our highest efficiency cards. We've got our 3060 Ti. We've also got, let's see, not 3060. Come on now. Why does this thing always feel so difficult to navigate? It just does, right? But we've got our 1060. We've also got our 1660 as well as our 2060. Where the heck did you go? Uncle Seth needs his glasses today. There we go. 2060. Let's go ahead and find our average for that top of the line, guys. I want to take a look at all of this, right? This is why I much prefer this tab as opposed to just seeing what's in the highest profit and what that stacked ranking tells us is maybe the highest profit. We've got to dig a little deeper, right? Again, remember about 50% of the hash rate and the resulting reward is going to go to that 3060 Ti, roughly. Dang! And Flux is just out here. Flux is just out here decapitating everything. It's not even breaking ankles anymore. It stopped throwing elbows. It went beyond punk rock. It is now pure liquid metal, flying through the air at like measured 1,000 Kelvin. So if you're standing in its way, it's functionally like a plasma cannon destroying you. Like, can I be any more clear about how profitable Flux is right now? Yeah, it's that good. Like, obviously, it's that good. When you're displacing Ethereum as the top most profitable coin to mine by that high a margin, everybody else needs to take note. Team Red, obviously, Ethereum is still the hero, right? All day, Team Red, you gotta stick with Ethereum for a while longer while we can, especially because we talked about that supply crunch, right? That issue that may be coming up soon. If you want to be sure you're not subject to, the crap end of the stick when we hit a supply crunch, then you've got to be sure you got some trickle of Ethereum coming in. But here, I mean, good grief, it's painfully obvious that there's nothing else that you would want to mine on your NVIDIA cards if you got a high efficiency part. And geez, that's just unreal. Absolutely unreal. Top of the line, let's go with our 3090 and let's go with our 2080 Ti, wherever the heck you decided to go. I hate this layout. Just saying, what to mine if you're watching, please make it right. Please make it make sense, right? I've got all this stuff interspersed. There's no longer a Team Red, Team Green filtering there. But we've also got our 1660S and our 1080 Ti. But no, seriously though, what to mine if you're watching, please make it make sense. Hitting calculate, and with a volume filter of 1 Bitcoin, which is not even the biggest hurdle we have to hit, it's still Flux all day by nearly, I mean, it's almost 100% more profit every single day. You got our cost for power that's eating into this just a little bit, but not by much. Jeez Louise. Unbelievable profits, guys, being printed over on Flux with your Team Green cards. Unbelievable. We do have a bit of an issue right now where we've gone from fundamentals and we've gone from what should be appropriate adoption to, yes, having it look a bit more like FOMO and aping in. Shout out to Crypto Claude over on Crypto Twitter. You know who you are. Also part of the Crypto Christopher Walken community there, who mentioned exactly like in that phraseology, like we're looking at ape behavior. This is like DeFi Summer 2.0 applied to projects that have stronger fundamentals. Even whattomine.com has placed this green band across Ethereum, I think to keep us from FOMOing in and being accidental market movers, right? We've talked about this on the channel as well. When you got too low a daily trading volume, we can accidentally, as small and mid-scale miners, become market movers. Or market makers. That would be a problem if we all aped in and decided, like, you know what, how much hash rate? I got 5 gigahash over here, son of a tech. Congrats again on breaking the 5 gigahash barrier. You got Red Panda Minings that are also above that level. You got Bitsby Trippin, who is, who far exceeded that level years ago. And if you just had like three contributors right there, like those 3 guys that have over 5 gigahash in their farms, just say like, well, you know what? That one project looks a bit interesting, and they all like hash rate nuked one network and tried to sell in order to get profits to pay down expenses and stuff. It's possible that in some cases, just between 3 miners, between 3 farms, we can become accidental market movers. So the rest of us collectively together, right? Yankee, I think, is also hosting for some other people, and so not too far from the many multi gigahash level, right? All of us collectively, we can really do damage to some of these networks. We have to be responsible. Like we really, really do. We've hash rate nuked before, though. That's the thing. We've done it, right? So again, like stay savage, guys. Throw your hashtags and the bullhorns up in the chat. But we've done it before, right? We've brought a lot of hash rate to bear before, collectively as a community. So if we're not careful about which projects we decide to go into, we can leave them wrecked. And I think we're seeing a parabolic run-up for Flux that could cause problems. But it's a game of chicken, right? It's like, well, I'll stop mining if you stop mining. I'll stop like market dumping and selling right now if you stop market dumping. Who's going to go first? Because if the profits are still there, that behavior is going to continue. The incentive, the motive, right, for profit is just too high. And that incentive is just too strong. So guys, that's our current profits on GPUs. Definitely impressive there. Let's take a look at our portfolios though. This is where we really start to understand what it all means. Yankee throws up a phenomenal piece of advice down in the chat, and he says, it's not advice. And you know what? He's right. None of this is meant to be legal, financial, investing, business, self-defense, or personal care, right? Personal hygiene advice. You need to brush your own teeth. You need to floss your own teeth. I guess ideally multiple times a day. If the American Dental Association is to be believed, you need to floss multiple times a day. But you didn't hear it from me, and it's not advice. Deal with it. All right, guys, GPU mining portfolio is printing great profits. Last 24 hours have been exciting, but primarily led by Flux, obviously. In our portfolio right now, we see that if we had $1,000 in Flux way back in May 26th, we would currently have over $9,000, that is. But don't measure your stuff in dollars. Measure it in Satoshis, right? We do want to have those fundamentals respected. We want to try to measure things in the opportunity cost of not holding Bitcoin. So let's take a look at Flux's chart. Oh, you know what? Actually, we just see our entry right now in the portfolio. And we see that, back in May, we added that particular entry, or we added a retroactive entry for Flux that started back in May. This is a really, really good time for anybody to use it. Good time frame. Guys, we're continuing to print profits up at $1.66. Last time I checked, it was at $1.30 some odd. So Flux is still in the midst of a parabolic run-up. They're still showing that little warning sign. Oh, you know what? No, actually, it did find its local top at $1.89 last night. Well, yesterday afternoon, I guess. So yesterday afternoon at about 1 p.m. Pacific, it found its local top, and both the volume and the price have been attempting to recover since then. Are we seeing a dead cat bounce? Is it going to fully retrace? Are we going to find some bottom support somewhere here at the dollar mark? I don't know. Maybe. You guys tell me. I think that the partnerships that Flux has announced, I think that their maintenance of the Zelcore wallet, I think that a lot of the fundamentals for the Flux project and the Flux network indicate that there should be strong support somewhere above where it was before, right? It found a previous all-time high above 50 cents, and then above 70 cents, and then above 80 cents. It kept on pushing upward and upward, ratcheting up over the last 7 days. But I think that it's been undervalued for a while. Current market cap at over, gosh darn it, at over $360 billion, or $1 million rather. $360 million. I think it's still got overhead. I really do. I think this is a $1 billion market cap project, if not higher. There's no reason that it wouldn't be. And especially with the incentive to run decentralized nodes for a decentralized cloud. I think there's strong incentive for participation there and the profit motive for both proof of work and for maintaining proof of service, right? Proof of useful services, actually having a product that people care about. I think it's much stronger than a lot of other projects out there. So I wouldn't be shocked to see it find support at $1 and then find its way back up during the rest of the bull run to an even higher all-time high than what we just saw. You heard it, guys. When I was on BitBoy's channel months ago, they asked me for a gem pick of mine. I listed Flux. I mentioned Flux on BitBoy's channel, and everybody there was gobsmacked. They'd basically never heard of it, never even paid attention. So for GPU miners, we know about it. Not a lot of the rest of the market did. So kudos to you guys. Miners tend to know this sort of thing before everybody else. That's why they always front run when it comes to certain profits. But in the GPU mining portfolio, guys, we've got plenty of additional options. Let's go to our biggest losers, though. It looks like Safecoin, we just don't have an entry for yet. Let's go ahead and add that live, guys. This is how we do it. If you're new to the channel or if you're just lurking, thank you again for being subscribed. While we do this, this is the sort of thing that we do for educational purposes so that people can make better portfolios, track better data, and make better decisions. But on CoinGecko, we're going to add a new entry here to Safecoin. Somebody asked to have this added to the portfolio. We've got some other wrapped Bitcoin representations we're just not going to deal with right now. But we're going to add a new Safecoin entry by going to its page, seeing its current price down over the last 24 hours. But we'll go down to its chart and say we want to go back to May 26th, 2021. And then have that range go to May 27th, 2021. And what it should do, there we go, give us the May 26th in between those two dates. Now we can run back, see what its volume is. It was quite low during those several days. In fact, yeah, volume dropped to under $100 during that 1 hour period. So yeah, roughly at exactly the time that we're going to put that entry in, at a price of 23 cents for 44.61 with tiny, tiny volume. So again, 23, 44.61. 23, 44, 61. And now we're going to grab a calculator. As you can see, that's proof of Linux right there. I'm still running the K desktop environment within Garuda Linux. It's been fun. But I'm going to divide this by that same figure, 23, 44, 61, and click on KCalc to copy that perfectly. So I've got exactly $1,000 entry, and now put our date in as May 26th at 5:30 p.m. roughly. So now we got the correct date, got the correct amount, and we've got a new entry. We'll just call that a purchase in this portfolio. So as paper trackers go, that gives us now the historical data, and we can take a look to see where that lines up. Turns out, guys, Safecoin was the hidden gem that y'all didn't know about. If you had $1,000 to put into Safecoin, you printed an over 300% return since May. Kudos, Safecoin. They rebased their entire code to Solana early. They rebased it back when Solana was $2. And they said, you know what? We think that there may be some merit to this Solana thing. So, Jeff, if you're watching, kudos. Boy, was your gut correct. But they rebased to Solana, so it's a much higher performance, much higher throughput coin, and now their centralized exchange, it's a non-KYC or KYC light centralized exchange called Safe.Trade. It also has a backend powered by Solana. So doing phenomenally well recently. I'm glad we added that. Thank you guys for the suggestion. We've been tracking Safecoin for quite some time, so really exciting to see it do so well. But yeah, guys, that's our GPU mining portfolio. Jumping back into our hard drive mining portfolio, guys, we got to take a look at every single side of the market. But hard drive mining portfolio is up over the last 24 hours, and it's down since we first made it. MaidSafe still top of the stack at 49% up, neck and neck with storage. Siacoin has printed some new profits, bringing it up as well, 10%. Chia is still below $200, but it's not at the negative 80% mark where it was before. It had a recent local top midweek, and then it found support again. So kudos to anybody who was holding Chia and found a really good exit point here. I mean, I think I indicated that on our last live stream, that if you were a bag holder with Chia, I wouldn't be mad at you if you took profits here. The core developer team is well funded, right? They've got tens of millions of dollars of VC money to continue to build on that vision. And so if Chia is going to survive, if Chia is going to really do what it claims to do, it's going to do it in the upcoming bear market. That is, I mean, cross my heart and hope to finally interview Bram, because it's not personal. I don't think there's anything wrong at all with what you're building here. But I think that right now, in the midst of a bull run, most people are skeptical. And so I think that in the bear market is where we're all going to be paying attention and saying, okay, what does Chia really deliver? It's not going to be before the end of this year, and it's not going to be in Q1 of next year, is my gut feeling. I think that Chia is going to be just fine, but I think it was a mistake to ape in too heavily, and I think it's a mistake to continue, depending on where you are in terms of your sort of like mining investor profile. It may be a mistake to continue to contribute to that network right now if you don't have the correct scale. So, not going to apologize for that, guys. Definitely Chia is interesting, but it's not. I don't think we're going to see like a massive parabolic run up until it continues to provide value over time in harsh conditions. It has to prove that it's going to work for it and then it's going to survive tough conditions. All right, guys. CPU mining portfolio. This has been a phenomenal side of the portfolio to check recently. We got 4% up over the last 24 hours, but the overall portfolio is over 250% up. Raptorium just still coming back to just wreck everything. Just looks amazing. Epic Cash has kind of calmed down a bit. Epic Cash, yes, very, very profitable coin to mine for some time. May still be. And gosh, we got some new shout outs, guys, in the chat. We got Gallo Salome saying, good morning, sir. Good to see you. Chump Change is still in the chat saying goodbye to Yankee, who's got to run, guys. Definitely appreciate you guys being here live. But Raptorium, guys, is running up. It's continuing to go up. And I think maybe in part because we're going to see that GPU mining algorithm eventually added to what to mine. It may take some time. So if you know, you know. If you're using it, good for you. If you're not, find out, right? See if any of your rigs can run it. See if they can run it profitably, because clearly on CPUs, it's the way to go, right? Like it's giving consistent returns. Epic Cash, maybe not quite as much. Hey, Sudhir is saying hello from South Africa. Thanks for being with us, brother. Definitely appreciate that. Love seeing the international community here during our live streams, talking about crypto, talking about proof of work mining. But guys, our biggest loser here is Monero. It's still way down. That's the thing. Meme coins probably shouldn't perform well in a bull market. They're probably, as we approach a bear market, but it's still got a $13 million market cap because it's meant to be a functional testnet for Monero. So it's still doing okay. Monero still printing profit, but not by much. Moving from CPU mineable coins into ASIC mineable coins, and we're still looking for something to really lead the pack here. We added Nervos Network. Thank you again, Crypto Mikkel, for the suggestion there. We added Nervos Network. It's toward the top, but it's not our top performer. Still Go Mining token. And then, which is not technically a proof of work mineable coin, but yeah. Let's see. Got a great question coming in from Aok Weinstein saying, can a program be written that will allow GPUs to mine Ethereum Classic after they go to SHA-3? That's a great question. I'm not familiar enough with SHA-3 and what the limitations of current, say, like the CUDA programming interface or like the CUDA SDK or with Vulkan or with OpenCL. I'm not sure what the limitations are there, or if there are hardware limitations for GPUs to prevent SHA-3 from being addressable by GPUs. But I think it's apparent that SHA-3 will be something where there's custom, where there's custom mining hardware made and not at the commodity level, maybe not CPUs, GPUs, and maybe even FPGAs, but really more ASICs. That may be the direction that they're trying to go, so they can show like, all right, we got lock-in, right, basically, and we've got a captive audience that's only using ASICs. AOC says the guy Donnie Mack is not a big fan of the small-time miner. That's too bad. I really do think that that's his loss. I think that having the small-time miner is what made Ethereum great. It's what made Bitcoin great back in the day. You've got people now who, at least their backstory is, the story that they stick to is that they were able to mine full Bitcoin blocks on their own back in the day. And For anybody for whom that's really the case, they've done very well. So small time miners, that's who Satoshi was talking to in the initial white paper of Bitcoin. So yeah, I think it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad that there's not greater attention paid to the small, like the at-home miner by the larger projects. I was very clear in my comments toward the Zcash Foundation, as well as the Electric Coin Company, and Zuko Wilcox himself, who's kind of been a flip-flopper on the issue of allowing small-time miners to help secure the Zcash network. There's so many others. There's so many other coins that just, like, in my opinion, didn't do the right thing when Equihash ASICs hit, and they didn't fork to support GPU miners. One of the projects that did, to their credit, early on was Flux. And in fact, there was a small private group just for leadership of all these projects. Guess who one of the leaders of that small group was? Yeah, it was Dan Keller and others from the Flux community that tried to sound the warning cry and tell everybody, like, hey, we should support GPU miners right now. I think that bet paid off really well for them too, with Flux, right? Trying to be supportive of us back in the day. So yeah, I think it pays off. I do. Ethereum Classic is not too big to fail, and it's not too big to make mistakes. I think that would be a mistake not to be supportive of small-time miners. Barry Merritt drops some specifics and says, SHA-3 stands for Secure Hash Algorithm 3. Thank you. I think that NIST would go out of their way to explain that to us as well. But SHA-3 is just another hashing algorithm, guys. So yeah. Hey, Miguel is here for a couple minutes during lunch break. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Appreciate that. HP says, should we build more rigs? That's always the question. I'll put it this way. If you already have equipment, sure, build more rigs. If you don't, I'd be very cautious about capitalizing new equipment right now. That's my take on it. You do you. You figure it out. And Bernie says, I remember the Z hash for Bitcoin Z and Zel hash Flux forks off Equihash. Yeah. There was a lot of work put in by some teams, and in some cases, all they did, they changed a couple of variables within that hashing algorithm, and that was enough. I mean, it's funny, like that was actually enough. HP is saying, looking long-term perspective, 5+ years for mining equipment. Man, that is a tough one. It's basically unknowable. The future is not clear for proof of work at different hardware profiles, and so yeah, I would be really, really cautious about where I put any kind of investment capital right now into scaling up infrastructure. I know it's super vague, but anything more specific than that comes across as like advice, right? Because we can do write-offs for equipment that you can't do for coin purchases. So if you've got a proper corporate formation and capital structure to your investments, then and specifically to your hardware purchases, you can maybe weather a storm, right? Of having things go a direction you didn't expect. But you got to be really, really cautious. So you're talking about like multiple spreadsheets worth of data, a data flow that is hard for me to just synthesize off the cuff right now. But 5+ years, mining is always profitable, especially GPU mining. It always comes back to profit. So I wouldn't doubt that. But knowing exactly which direction to build, devil's in the details there. So you got to run a lot more calculations. Yeah, guys, love the chat coming in. Love that everybody's asking and answering great questions there. But in our ASIC mining portfolio, guys, Nervos Network, it was recently added, and it's still below Bitcoin in profits. And Go Mining Token, which is not actually an ASIC mineable coin, is still top of the list. FPGA mining, this has been interesting to watch as well, largely because of Cadena. Oh my gosh. I turned my back on Cadena for like 48 hours, and it goes parabolic, 30x. In that side of the portfolio, we have printed our first 30x on a fundamental project, not a meme coin, not a pumpamental, not a fresh launch. So these are not pre-sale prices up till now. This is just a typical portfolio entry back in late May up to today. If you had put $1,000 into this project, you now have $30,000 of value. Looks like it also, alongside Flux, it tested its own resistance level up above, likely because of joint announcements, right? Flux and Cadena are partners, right? So, hey, Son of a Tech, thanks for being with us for as long as you could. Definitely appreciate that, guys. Be sure you are subscribed to all of our mining content creators. Guys, I cannot say it strongly enough. Everybody who you've seen in the live chat right now, they're part of the family. Go be supportive. At least be subscribed and thumbs up their content where you can if you're not able to watch it all the time. Right? This is important for us right now. The market values what we're talking about right now. And in 6 months, when everybody feels whatever, depressed, they're going to be wondering, why should I support this channel? You're going to give them a reason to. Okay, so go be supportive. Cardano, guys, is, it's just absolutely on fire. $3 billion market cap and growing aggressively. Haven't seen anything perform like that. Not even the pumpamental coins or the rebase coins or the coins that show some very, some other like specific internal liquidity provision or, what is the word I'm looking for here? They're coins that have a specific automated function. But I'll just call them pumpamental coins, right? The coins that are designed in their core smart contract, designed to print all-time highs regularly. Cardano just throat punched all of them, and that's pretty amazing. Neuros Network is we have it added here, but we don't have an entry for it. I might go ahead and just delete that in the future because we've already got it in the ASIC mining portfolio. But guys, we've only got a few projects that are actually in the money. It looks like 0x Bitcoin is over $1 inexplicably, right? And oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So it's back to break even. 0x Bitcoin. Whoever was doing their high frequency swing trading, you can stop now, I guess. Stop your automations. Proof of stake smart contracts, guys. On our proof of stake smart contracts, we have got Phantom in the lead. 24-hour change, we're up almost 4%, and the total portfolio is up significantly because if you had a basket of some of these projects, like we've talked about before, right, over on DeFi Llama, looks familiar, right? Usual suspects. We've got a pretty similar order here, and this is what we spent so much time going over on the last live stream, is looking to see what still has upside to gain more TVL, what still has upside to gain more DeFi market share. And now let's compare and contrast that to its recent price action, its market cap, and its unit price, right? We can take a look at some of these data points and we can make much better decisions by doing some modeling, right? Just a little bit of calculus in our heads, and really table napkin drawing, right? Where it's like, can we look at this line here? Is there this much volume, this much TVL? Could it grow? What would have to take place in order for this to do better? Could it 2x? Could it 5x? Could it 10x in the remainder of this bull run or in the near future? Is that even possible, right? Or do we have the Shiba Inu problem that we talked about where a 10x is literally not even possible, right? Like there's not enough liquidity in markets to be able to flow into that project, or 100x, right? We'll say, because everybody, Shiba coin, Shiba Inu to 1 cent. No, literally impossible. There's not enough liquid currency in every fiat market in order to make Shiba Inu that large a coin. So we can do some of those same calculations on these. Got HP saying Phantom is an ecosystem. Phantom ecosystem is an L1 leader. Cool. Bernie says, I saw Phantom are sponsoring an F1 team. That's cool. Greg is asking for the red screen. You guys ready for the red screen? Are you ready? Here we go. Yep, none of this is actually legal, financial, investing, or business advice. I know we run that frequently. I know I run that frequently. But here's the thing. The SEC is watching too, and so is the IRS. And they want to know who's giving who advice. You didn't pay for my time, and I'm not a financial advisor. So this is not advice. This is a YouTube live stream where some dude is waving his arms a lot and has really, prominent eyebrows to be, Bitcoin. We're not exactly doing moon boy talk, but I'm also not showing you like deep business intelligence and analytic charts, right? But where I've run my own calculations and I'm, creating a custom plan for you or roadmap, right? Like if you need that, go hire counsel, right? And talk to your CPA before you get wrecked by the IRS. This guy isn't going to do it for you. So looking back into our portfolio here though, guys, we got a market cap that's still relatively low on Phantom, right? $8 billion in the grand scheme of crypto, right? The grand scheme of crypto, $8 billion is not a lot. We look at crypto market caps like Bitcoin and they're over $1 trillion, right? We look at crypto market caps like Ethereum, and we're over $600 billion or $500 billion. We're at $500 billion there. So it's not unreasonable to believe that a DeFi network can go to, say, 20% of Ethereum's network. That's not unrealistic. And to have it go to like 5% of that network, also not unrealistic. But 5% of Ethereum's market cap is still higher than what Phantom has right now. So we can run some of these calculations on our own and do like table napkin projections and maybe be not too far off the mark. With Solana, guys, $74 billion, we're almost already at 20% of Ethereum's market cap. That doesn't mean it can't go higher. It totally could. 100% it can. Hey, Andres Prato says, hi from Argentina, like your live. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Gracias, paisano. Appreciate it. I shouldn't actually say that. Compadre. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Yeah, you guys are wondering, does Seth speak the Castellano? Yes, I do. I do, but only on Tuesdays. So, guys, Solana, could it go higher? Absolutely. Avalanche, does it have more upside? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Has it printed a local top? I don't know. Maybe. It's still in the midst of price discovery upwards, right? It hasn't gone parabolic. It's still kind of ratcheting upward, kind of carefully, cautiously on its way up. But could it find that resistance and then start to retrace? Totally. It absolutely can, right? We know this. This is crypto. Phantom also has gone parabolic. So for us to see $8 billion from where it was before, that 10% pop could be something that is not consistent, right? So just be aware. Don't ape into this stuff mindlessly. Run your calculations, have a plan, work your plan, right? And mitigate your risks, like measure your risks and make sure you take profit on the way. That is advice, right? That's just like general advice. That's just good advice. People who hodl all the way to the bottom, we see it every single market. People buy the top and sell the bottom, and it's really sad. And I don't want anyone here in this audience to come back next year and say, well, you know what? You led me astray by even talking about cryptocurrency. And now all crypto is a scam. Nah. You don't get that excuse. That's off the table. Be safe. Take profits where appropriate. Come up with your own plan and work it, right? Don't be lazy about this. Lazy people get wrecked. So Harmony One, we finally have that entry as well. It's above break even, well above break even. Cosmos also is rising in those ranks. But we have seen reports from some analysts who say that they believe Polkadot has significant upside to go. And I tend to believe them, right? It's behind Solana and its total market cap. And the two of these projects are some of the favorites of developers, people who want to build NFTs and want to build DeFi products. They're talking about these products. They're not talking about Ravencoin. Ravencoin is not even in their universe. There's not an SDK that they want to use that's coming out of Ravencoin. Ethereum Classic? Maybe. But probably not. Because if they wanted to go with Ethereum Classic, they'd already be on Ethereum. Polkadot and Solana are attracting serious talent, and it's causing brain drain. That's why we're seeing these prices go up. Okay, we're seeing some of the smartest, best and brightest in the room say like, I want to launch a new coin. I want to launch a new network. I want new projects that are crypto-based or blockchain-based. And this gives me what I need. Low fees, high throughput, and support with an SDK. So, tools to build stuff. So that's why they're taking so much of the market lead. Cosmos as well. Do not turn your back on it. Guys, Crypto.com. We opened today's news segment talking about how Crypto.com, with their new Chronos network, they're going to be an IBC network. They're basically, even though they're going to be like using Solidity and EVM, they're basically going to be a Cosmos ecosystem play. So if we want to like chalk up another, win to one of these networks, it's going to be Cosmos, not Ethereum. Until Chronos like has its own value locked in, we can call that a dub for the Cosmos team. Binance Smart Chain, clearly it did some price discovery and it's already finding support now again. I don't know how much higher that's going to go. We're already at 20%, roughly, almost exactly 20% of Ethereum's market cap there with Binance Smart Chain. I mean, am I here to pick winners and losers again? No, but my gut tells me I don't know if Binance Smart Chain is going to go become half of Ethereum's market cap, or if it's going to go swallow up like half of the DeFi dominance? I'm not sure. I think now we've got other options, and in many cases, they're better options, and they're definitely less centralized options. So if you're interested in DeFi, it could be that BSC, that it got to enjoy DeFi Summer 2.0, but it might not get to enjoy DeFi Summer 3.0, whenever that happens or however that looks. But yeah, guys, some of these networks also breaking out are Kusama, it's staying profitable, Tron staying profitable, Cardano recently peaked, but then found support again and is rising. Everything is moving upward, of course, with a strong correlation to Bitcoin. But Cardano kind of peaked early, still over $2, but it kind of peaked early. And I don't know if it's really going to pop way up the way everybody says it's going to do, like just run way off. I'm just not seeing that. And like for my own personal comfort level, I would need to see Cardano actually deliver value locked. We go back to DeFi Llama. And where is Cardano in all of this? Not top 5, not top 10. Not even, gosh, let's take a look. Keep on going. Top 20, top 25, top 30. Alrighty, we've actually got to search for it. No. All right. Cardano, not even on the list yet, right? DeFi Llama is not even tracking it at this point. So in my mind, we would need to start seeing Cardano be a credible threat to DeFi and NFT markets from this perspective, right? From where people are actually using it. I'm not seeing that. I didn't see it 2 months ago. I don't see it now. I didn't see it 6 months ago. And it's not that people aren't making money with it. They are. Plenty of people are making money with Cardano. But I don't see people using it as programmable money. Not yet. Maybe you know something I don't. Tell me in the chat. Chainlink still kind of like still moving onward and upward, but not at the pace that I think a lot of the Link Army, Link Marines say it's going to. Polygon broke even and has since retraced. That kind of makes me sad in my heart. It's a project that I think has strong fundamentals. And again, at a market cap of $12 billion, I think it's got overhead to take more of the DeFi, more of the larger slice, rather, of the DeFi pie. I think there's plenty going on there. Internet Computer is our biggest loser here. Let's move on from proof of stake smart contracts, guys. There's a lot of potential there, but move into the junk drawer. We got tons of projects that are here now. We're not going to put an entry into all of them, but we've got a lot of new meme coins that do not have an entry yet. Saitama Inu, Kishu Inu, Akira Inu, Floki Inu, all of these, Luffy Refinance, which are, I guess, like UFO Gaming, Zio Network, and Refinance, they are not, strictly speaking, meme coins. Safe Moon Inu, however, obviously is. And it's got a market cap of $45 million. So we are going to add an entry for some of these coins. And I think it's going to help us out a lot. But for right now, guys, we need to look at some of these projects that have stronger fundamentals. So Sushi, $2 billion market cap. Uniswap, $13 billion market cap, but they're not in the money, right? Unfortunately, it's Pancake and above that are. Our highest earners in this time frame have been Shiba Inu, even though it's losing value, right? Even though it's dropped in value, it's still our top entry since late May. Hex, which is, again, like the pumpamental coin, like to end all pumpamental coins. It's meant to have specific, not liquidity, but value generating properties in terms of the smart contract and all that. It has lost value during this time. It has not been our biggest winner in this time frame. We've seen plenty of other projects outperform it. Now we've seen at least one project outperform it 10-1. So people who say that Hex is the only way to earn value are not being smart with their investment, right? They might be looking at it as a long-term strategy, but at least in the short term, right now, in the middle of a bull run, where there are so many other projects that are starting really low, under the radar, or only GPU miners know about it and have this massive potential upside, it would be foolish to stay stuck on only a project like Hex. This is not me saying that Hex is a fundamentally wrong project or bad, or me trying to pick winners here. It probably has a lot more, a brilliant future ahead of it, probably. But in the meantime, plenty of other projects have outperformed it, and we've got proof, right? Like we kept these entries here so we could show what was actually doing well. Guys, appreciate all of the chats coming in. Guys, chat is out of control as usual. Thank you for being here with us live. But in this side of the portfolio, guys, our top two performers, They're not showing positive price action over the last 7 days. DYDX is, Serum is, PancakeSwap finally popped into profit because of the last 7 days of price action. And then everything else is generally positive, but a lot of it is not back in the money based on our May 26th portfolio entry. So just be aware, not all that glitters is gold, guys. We got to be really careful about what we keep our money in and where we keep our liquidity provisioned. Zion Network is at almost $500 million. I want to put an entry in here, clearly up by 86% over the last week, so we might be able to see profits from our May 26th entry point, but I don't want to hold you hostage while we do that live. Guys, it's now Q&A, like the deep Q&A. Do you have questions about the portfolios? Do you want to learn how to do all of this from scratch? Do you want to see a portfolio tracker or specifically a hardware decision tracker? I mention hash per dollar per watt a lot when we talk about GPUs. And we've seen some projects here that can help you print your own profits from home, literally from your basement or from your garage. Make something from almost nothing, just bare cost of power with some equipment you might already have lying around. Why don't I share that with you over the next couple of days, guys? But let me know in the comment section what else you'd like to see from the show. We're going to call it a day right now. We've been going for about an hour and a half, a little over an hour and a half. Appreciate you being here live with us while we go through all the different markets. But if you have a couple more questions, guys, let's do a brief Q&A before we call it a day. A couple things that are on the horizon as far as content goes is how to secure your own seed phrase. So this is not happening yet today. This is coming up soon, but how to secure your own seed phrase. We have custom cut seed phrase plates out of stainless steel, and we'll go over how to do your own custom electrochemical engraving. Yep, so electrochemical engraving is how you can do this at home without complex tools, but we'll go over that in a future video. So we'll preview there. And then, as mentioned before, we're also going to go over how to use a hardware wallet with your phone. What kinds of devices you will need to be able to use a hardware wallet with your phone. HP is asking, is the Mind Your Biz Discord active? No, it is not. I'm archiving the Mind Your Biz Discord right now in favor of the Mining Misfits Discord, which is awesome and supports a lot of additional mining channels. They've been kind enough to welcome me in, so I will not be using my own custom Discord channel. That's now announcements only, basically for announcements only. We've got the Monday channel still active because that's still embedded in the mineyour.biz website, but going to shutter that outlet there, probably in favor of a Telegram to Matrix bridge. So we've got an untakedownable chat room there, but it still has moderation and some automated moderation at that. Joe says, hello, good sir. Hope you are well. Thank you. Appreciate that. Anonymous Miner is asking about how to make an NFT. Definitely, that's a can do. I'll put that on the list of shorter tutorials we can go over here on the channel. One other thing that's coming up, guys, as far as upcoming content here on the channel, it's been a little bit of time. Thank you for bearing with me. Thanks for being patient. I've started working more, not only in my freelance and consulting business, but also in a regular contributor role to a crypto marketing agency. Yeah, I'm actually working for projects that directly, in some cases, and in other cases, indirectly. So got a lot going on. Appreciate you being supportive, even though everything's been ramping up and things have been going crazy here on the channel. Going over really, really soon how to flash your own router so you can have a VPN router that supports awesome protocols like WireGuard. So this is important to me. Ordered a couple of these. Flash routers is great, but they're going to charge you like $300-$400 for a router that I can show you how to make on your own. For less than $400. So I'm looking forward to that. I really am looking forward to helping you create something that keeps your whole house safe, as opposed to just trying to like one-off go through like whatever Apple, MacBook hardening videos and how to harden the security on your Windows computer over here and how to harden security over on your Linux computer over here. Like instead of just going one-off, let's show you how to make a VPN router for yourself. Right? Like that's a tutorial that matters to me. I want to make sure you guys have that. Martin asks, what's your main breaker temperature on the mining rigs? I have a 100 amp and temp is between 74 to 77 degrees Celsius. Not sure if that's too hot or no. Well, Martin, to answer your question, I don't regularly monitor the temperature of my breakers. My main mining breakers, first off, they're 240 volt. And I just And I grow by increments of 30 amps, right? So I go, if I need to add, it'll be another 30 amp, 240 volt breaker. But I haven't actually like worked on that. Joe Cosia says, I use pfSense firewall, which is phenomenal. pfSense is really great, not only as a firewall, but I believe it can run your VPN also. Don't quote me. But pfSense overall is more powerful than Pi-hole. There are other projects like that. What I want to go with is something that's just a little bit more turnkey, just a little bit. So people can use like a router, a wireless router interface that they're used to, be able to just log on. And if you're in the context of a family, let your family just like use their typical devices, tablets and such. So having a router that actually supports WireGuard is critical. And we'll talk about why. Okay, we'll definitely talk about why. Anonymous Miner chimes in to answer that question that Martin asked about the breaker temperature and says that's too hot, 100%. Yeah, that sounds right. It does sound too hot. But to answer your question about what mine are, I don't measure it. Like I probably should, but I don't because yeah, I just take like I know what the draw is here at the plug, so I know I'm not running it too high, and I know that I'm using the correct gauge cable and wire to go out to my receptacles. So anyway, guys, appreciate you being here and asking a few last minute questions of the lineup of content there, guys. Let me know what you're looking forward to most expectantly. I will leave, I think, probably a poll in the community tab of the YouTube channel so we can figure out what to do first, because there's so much great content that's sort of privacy oriented and cryptocurrency oriented and operational security oriented. So much good content coming up, so little time. So I need to prioritize, and I need your help coming up with those priorities. Thank you for being subscribed. Really, your support means so much, and you really are the reason that I make this media. Guys, thank you for being here. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Be sure to check out mineyour.biz, where you can sign up for our email newsletter, where we're still ramping up content, but you will occasionally receive specials for flash sales and all kinds of other deals that we have going on the site. You can also check out our services page, where we offer consulting to projects that need it. You can pick up the Freedom Phone, which respects your privacy. You can pay for it in crypto and have it shipped to you anonymously, as well as getting merchandise that also is paid for with crypto. That's right, we practice what we preach, including, well, a Flux swag page. That's right. It's a dedicated page just for the team over at Flux Network, because we love them that much. Thanks for watching to the end. Thanks for being subscribed. You know I love your face. Be sure to stay private and mind your biz.